If you work in the corporate world, chances are you have experienced webinars, whether or not you're hosting them or attending them. They are a necessary component to any marketing plan because not only do they help you access new customers, but they also help you engage and inform your existing clientele. So why do so many of them suck? And how do we make them suck a little bit less and look a whole lot better? Well, we're gonna cover that in our 3-part series right now. Part 1, the visual aspect of webinar. Let's step up your game. Let's roll that intro. Hey, what's going on everybody? Isaiah from Cleverly Titled Creative here to talk to you about webinars. More specifically, how we can take your webinar from looking like this to something more like this. So part 1 in this series is all about how to step up the visual aspect of your webinars, and then we will cover other aspects, how to make them sound good and how to make them outperform your competition in the other parts. But first and foremost, why do we even care about what your webinar looks like? Well, 1, it sets you apart from the competition. These are just small things that everybody can do, but nobody is doing right now. A lot of people are just going lowest common denominator, quickest ability to get their content out there. And this is really gonna set you apart because likely you may think you're the only one in your industry right now that's doing what you do, but there's probably a lot more people out there who are doing what you do than you realize. And this is just one way to elevate yourself above them. And you know what they say, you look good, feel good, you play good. So maybe it'll help make those sales come a little bit easier for you. All right, so what better place to start than right here in the middle of it, in the thick of it all. This is the typical webinar view that you see in a lot of presentations that I've seen online and a lot of presentations that I've seen other people post and repost, and it's just kind of messy. It feels kind of thrown together. There's no real thought behind it right now. So if I was to take this situation right here that we have and try to make it better and amplify it, the first thing that I would do is to stop trying to take up the entire screen with my body. So what I would do is frame myself better so that you could actually see the top of my head, you can see my eyes, you can see my surroundings a little bit more. You can see me gesturing if I need to in order to add more impact or emphasis to the things that I'm trying to say. So basically just frame myself a little bit better in the space that I'm using. The next thing that I would do is to make sure that the camera is at eye level with myself or even just slightly above. So that may mean grabbing a box or grabbing a book or something to put your laptop or your desktop computer on top of so that your webcam is at eye level or maybe slightly above. And this is just a good thing because it's a more flattering angle for the camera. It doesn't look like you're looking down on the people and then they can't like stare up your nose or anything like that and be distracted by that. So in 1 second, I'm going to raise up this camera. 1 second. All right, so that's already a little bit better just because we're not looking down at the people that we're speaking to, so it doesn't feel kind of like overlordish or anything like that. So that's the first thing that I would say. Make sure that your camera is at eye level or even slightly above just to get a more flattering angle, and then to make sure that you're appropriately sized in the scene that you're setting. And you're not taking up a significant portion with your face. Everybody can see your beautiful expressions and your hand motions and gestures. The next thing that I would do, and it may seem pretty simple and pretty obvious right now, but is to clean up the room that you're presenting. So there's a lot to be said about what is behind you and how you present yourself in that way. So what we want to do here is make sure that we have a clean slate so that nothing is distracting in the background. People aren't paying attention to like this mask over here or trying to read my whiteboard back here or anything like that. So making sure that we keep ourselves clean and undistracted and minimal as we possibly can. So that's a ton better. The only thing that I would say is this scene does look a little bit sterile. I would personally add something bring a little bit of character and life into the room. I mean, I think this looks pretty nice. It just gives people a little bit more character to who you are and what you're doing. I like having a little pop of color in the background with the plant. So the next thing, I guess, now that we have our scene all set, now that everything looks good and is taking up the appropriate amount of space, the next thing that we want to tackle is lighting. How do you light something appropriately? Because it's always tough when you can't hardly see your presenter, because webcams, though they've come a very long way, are not the most amazing cameras that we have. So the thing that we can do in order to help it is to make our lighting in our frame look a ton better. So what I always suggest, and what I think is a really great way to light, is to make sure that you do your webinars or your presentations next to an open window. Windows create the best source of natural light. It looks really good. What I do is cover it with a semi-opaque sheet to kind of even out that light so that it's not casting these hard shadows, kind of like you see right here. So one side of my face looks very washed out, and the other side looks very dark and almost yellowish. That's kind of gross. So the thing that we need to do is make sure that all of our light is even so that our room looks good right now. So I will close that blind, and then we'll get into how to light the rest of the scene. All right, so that is a little bit darker, but as you can see, the left side of my face doesn't look so washed out right now, just because that light isn't coming in as harshly. Now, if it's a cloudy day outside, you can probably get away with leaving the window open because the clouds will provide some kind of diffusion for the light. But if it's not, it's always nice to have a semi-opaque curtain just to let some of the light in, but diffuse it a little bit so that it hits you in a softer way. The next thing that you can do is kind of bring up the light in the room, because closing that shade definitely took a lot of light out of the scene. So how can we bring up the light in the room? I think the first thing that I'm going to do is turn on this lamp back here, just to add a little bit of warmth behind me and make me pop out in front of my scene. So let's try that and see what that looks like. That looks pretty good. I like that because it adds a little bit of character and it adds some more depth and dimension to this presentation that I'm giving right here. So it looks pretty good right now. The only thing that I would change probably, and this is only for people who feel like they need to have some investment into their webinars, maybe people who give multiple webinars a month or a week, or people who do presentations for a living, I would invest in a ring light or a soft box. So there are some pretty inexpensive options for box lights and ring lights. And the whole focus for those is just to bring you forward and make you the focal point of what's going on. So I'm going to take a light here and shine it on me and see how that makes the scene look. All right, so I think that this has been amplified way better. I think that I'm the focal point here. There is a little bit of character in the room, but it's not distracting from what I'm trying to say or the information that I'm trying to relay to you guys. All right, just to quickly recap what we did here. We made sure that we were filling the frame appropriately with our body so that everybody could see our eyes, our face, our mouth, our hand gestures in order to create more impact in our presentation. We made sure that the camera was at eye level or just slightly above, just to use that more flattering camera angle. We cleaned up the room, which is a simple step to make sure that people aren't distracted by your surroundings. We added a little bit of character to the room too, just to give people the idea that we are real human beings that exist in a real space. And in order to light, we used an open window with a semi-opaque sheet. We used this practical lamp back here, and we used a softbox light just to separate ourselves from the background. Now, if you're interested in improving the visuals of your webinar even further, and you have a little bit of money to spend on making sure that your webinars look as prime as possible, they do sell a clip-on telephoto lenses for your webcam on your computer. Now, forward-facing webcams on a computer are not necessarily the best cameras, so a telephoto lens will only create an optimal crop that will make you fit in the frame even better and not have to have all of this extra space on the sides. Or you could invest in a DSLR that you can attach to your computer instead of using the actual webcam. But those are significant investments. I realize that not everyone has the budget for something like that, and I wanted to make sure that
this was an accessible thing for many people to be able to use, no matter the size of your business or the budget that you have for your webinar.
So there you have it, just a few things that you can do to step up the visuals of your webinar and set yourself apart from your competition. Make sure to tune in to the next part of this series where we talk about how to create audio that's worth listening to and how to make sure your presentation has a significant impact on your audience. Now, Cleverly Titled Creative does offer video and audio production consulting services. So if you or your business is interested in creating a YouTube channel, in creating a podcast, or you're already creating video content for your clients and your customers, and you just want to see how you can amplify that and make it better, make sure to shoot us an email at cleverlytitledcreative@gmail.com or visit us at cleverlytitledcreative.com. That's all for us right now. We'll catch you guys in the next video.